Now we have developed get account REST API. Next, let us build deposit REST API. Well, basically we are going to develop the REST API that will deposit amount into a account holder name. For example, here the account holder is Ramesh. He has a balance 10,000. Next, we are going to deposit some amount into this Ramesh account holder. Alright, so basically we are going to add some amount to the existing balance. Okay, it's pretty simple. So let us go to IntelliJ IDEA over here and let us first develop the service layer. So go to account service interface, and here let's give account detail as a return type. Let's give method name as deposit, and let's pass first parameter as ID. Next, let us pass second parameter as a amount that we want to deposit into account. Now we have defined deposit method in account service interface. Next, let us provide the implementation for this deposit method in a account service sample class. So let us jump into account service sample class. Mouse over on this class, click on implement methods over here, and then click on OK. Next, let us implement this deposit method. Well, within a deposit method, first we will check whether the account with a given ID exists in a database or not. If the account with a given ID is not exist in database, then we will throw the runtime exception, right? So here we have already written a piece of code. So let me copy this piece of code and let me paste in a deposit method. Now we got the account for this particular account ID. Next, let us call its get balance method and then add this amount to existing balance. Okay. Next, here let us introduce a local variable double. Let's call it as total equal to. Perfect. Next, let us call account and then let's call it set balance method and then pass total. Okay, perfect. Next, we need to save this object into a database. For that, let us call account repository and then call save method and then pass account object. Perfect. Next, this save method returns saved account object. So here let us introduce a local variable account and then saved account. Next, this deposit method returns account DTO. So let us convert this account JPA entity into account DTO. So here let us remove this null and then call account mapper. It has map to account DTO and then pass saved account. Okay, perfect. Now we have implemented deposit method. It will deposit amount into a account, and the logic is pretty simple. We will get the existing balance from the account and we'll add the amount to the balance, and then we'll get the total amount, and then we'll add that total amount as a balance to the account, and then we'll save that account into a database. Okay, it's pretty simple. Next, let us build the deposit REST API that will internally call this method. So go to account controller and here deposit REST API. Alright, so here let's type public. Let's give return type as a response entity, and here let's give the type as account DTO, and let's give method name as deposit, and then let us pass two parameters to this method, long ID and then second parameter as map. It takes key as a string, value as type double. So basically we'll pass amount in a request body. For that we'll use a map. Okay, next let us call it as request. Perfect. Next, within this deposit method, let us call account service. It has deposit method, and then let's pass ID as a first parameter. Second parameter we need to pass the amount, so we can get that amount from the request object. So here request dot get, and then we can pass key as a amount. Okay. Next, let us introduce a local variable amount account DTO. Okay, next let us have a return statement, return response entity dot OK, and then pass account DTO in a body. Now we have created a deposit method, and then internally we will call account service dot deposit method, and then we'll pass ID and then amount. So we can extract this as a separate variable as well. So here what we'll do, we'll store in a local variable, let us say double, and then amount equal to request dot get, and then pass this amount over here. Okay, so this will basically improve the readability. Next, let us annotate this deposit method with @put mapping annotation. Well, we use @put mapping annotation to map incoming HTTP put request to this method. Next, within a double quote slash, and then pass ID. Next, slash deposit. So this is the URL for this REST API. Next, let us store the value of this ID into a method argument using @path variable annotation. So here let us use @path variable annotation to bind value of this template URI variable to this method argument. Next, here let us use one more annotation, that is @request body annotation. Well, this @request body annotation will map the request JSON body into this map Java object. Okay, perfect. Now we have developed a deposit REST API. Next, let us go ahead and let us rerun our Spring Boot application, and let us test this deposit REST API. So here let me stop and rerun the Spring Boot application. Alright, our Spring Boot application is up and running. Next, let us head over to the Postman client over here, and here let's create a new request, and here let us choose HTTP put method, and here let us enter the request URL. So let me copy this and let me paste it over here. Next, let's go to body and then choose raw, and then choose content type JSON, and here let us pass the JSON and the key as amount and the value. Let us say we want to deposit 5,000. Okay, that's it. Next, click on send button. So this says method not allowed. Well, here we need to give the correct URL. So let's go to IntelliJ IDEA, and let's see the URL that we have given to the REST API. We have given the URL ID/deposit. So we need to append this deposit in the URL as well. So here's /1/deposit, and then click on send button, and there we go. In a response, you can see the JSON account 1, account holder name Ramesh, and the balance is 15,000. Earlier it was 10,000. Now you can see the balance 15,000. Okay, it means we have successfully deposited 5,000 into account Ramesh. Next, let us say we want to deposit 10,000. Next, click on send button, and you can see the response, the total balance 25,000. It means the deposit REST API is working as expected. Next, you can see the same change in the database table as well. So go to accounts table, right click, select rows, and you can see the balance 25,000. Okay, it means we have successfully built deposit REST API. Okay, great.